Evening, SimPlay Nation, and good evening, SimPlay Nation, and welcome to the one, the only, it's my home circuit, it's Oulton Park, located about a half an hour drive out of Chester, just below Liverpool. It is one of the furthest north circuits here in the UK, and it's also infamous. 3 different layouts to choose from. We use the national, we use the full layout here at Oulton Park, here in the GT3s. It is Pro-Am. Of course, I'm Alexa Marshall, and we get ready to rumble. Currently watching Wolski making his way through this circuit. Currently sat P6 overall. Him sits for the current top time, 1 minute 33, 3, 4, 2. It's then Ramsell who sits P number 4, and then the top 3 actually separated by less than a second. Snai and Gooday sitting P number 2 and 3 respectively. Looking in the chat, welcome in Matthew, welcome in Tips, welcome in Clarbel, welcome in Clouden. How are we all doing tonight, ladies and gentlemen? Let us know what you think about this circuit in the chat. Of course, we know about Oulton Park. Some people love it, some people hate it, some people just have that middle ground. Of course, it is a proper British track, meaning that there isn't a lot of runoff, there is a whole lot of grass. And as many people found out last night, if you clip that grass ever so slightly, you will end up going round and down further through the order. Of course, longer qualifying than the GT4s yesterday, but we'll wait and see, and we will wait for overall. Of course, if you don't know how we do this here at SimPlay Motorsport, we'll let you know now. It's a 20-minute sprint race followed by a little break, and then it is 15 minutes qualifying, and then it is a 1 hour feature races. Ramsell goes off at the chicane and he resets to the pit lane. That's an RTG. Williams in the pits. Lots of people in the pit lane. Taylor, not so much, making his way around the circuit right now through the long left-hander. Here's the key factor. That's one of, in my personal opinion, this is one of the trickiest parts of this circuit. That long left-hander right there, you've got to know where to lift off or where to dab on the brakes, because otherwise you go off and it is and because of your high speed, it's extremely hard to get it stopped just before the barrier goes over the crest out the first chicane and down into the second. Onto the heavy braking zone, we'll wait and see, is the tyres still there? No, they're not. They've been sent into the stratosphere. As Tucker is making his way around the circuit in that beautiful purple and green livery, if I do say so myself. And somebody else saying, "Hey, British tracks, what you're lying for?" I don't know. You guys just keep it civil. As right now, Old Sim Racer, currently sat P number 19, going to be going around this circuit. Let's go on board with him for a lap here at the Oulton Park circuit. Let me know if the audio sounds okay. Chat, of course, wasn't here last week because of revision. Through the left-hander we will go and onto the stretch, heading down as quickly as possible. Pedal to the metal, foot to the floor. Will it lift or will it brake? We'll wait and see. Down into the left-hander as you go. Little bit of a lift, no gear shift it seems. Under and down you go into the hairpin. You get as tight as possible. You've got plenty of room to manoeuvre that car. Get the exit, get the slingshot, and onto the throttle again. Through the right-hander into the first of the 2 chicanes here at Oulton Park. Into the left, you can go over these curves, but not too much. A little bit of undulation issue there for the Ford. And then further and further over the crest, down the hill you will go, past the spectators. This is one of the good things about Oulton Park. Wherever you sit, especially at turn number 2, you get to see a whole lot of this circuit, as it is a proper piece of British engineering, located right next to a lake. Under the bridge and continue round through the left-hander and onto a little bit of a dab. Shifts down, not once but twice. Through the right-hander, onto the throttle. Use that track. You can use the track a little bit on the exit there. Nice little bit of tarmac. Not so much tarmac, but realistically, it's like when you put in a garden to keep your grip when it's rainy. We'll wait and see. A little bit of rear end wobble there for Old Sim Racer. They're going to be coming in the line through the final corner. Goes to the line and he will stay P number 19 for this current time. Number 22 seeming to have a bit of a moment there. Or the 33. We'll wait and see. As Debo making his way through this circuit. One man who is definitely looking to make his mark in that very much Renault. Honestly, I say this every single time. You cannot convince me that he's not a Renault-inspired livery. Going on the grass, not so much. But right now, Millington's right there. So let's wait and see, shall we? As I need to get something up. Dooba-dooba-doo. But right now, let's watch Millington making his way through this infamous circuit. I'm going to be honest with you, chat. There's going to be a whole lot of bias tonight. Because who wouldn't be biased to their home circuit? Don't lie to me. Like, it is one of those things, as you head through the left-hander, bias just happens. Bias just happens, chat, and you can't deny it. Anywho's, heading through the left-hander, onto the throttle again. This is what we love about this circuit. Just the roar of the engines, the roar of everything. Don't ask why I'm just yapping. Anywho's, 1 minute 48 left here in free practice. Still Hibbs up at the top. 1 minute 33.342. So, quite a interesting one, if I do say so myself. I mean, hey, that's if I do say so myself, which I am saying so myself. As right now, through the left-hander, onto the throttle, one more time. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, let's have a look at the standings for the Pro-Ams. It is Hibbs who currently leads up at the top with, that is really hard to tell, with 339 points to their name. Then it's a 134-point gap behind them to John Gooday on 205. Snai rounds up in P number 3, not as unlucky as the top two. 171 points go to their name. It's then Ramsell, Flem Speed 1, Beck, Greaves, Stardog Richie rounds out the top 10. It's then Saunders, Argent, Varga, Taylor, Wolski, Flores, Limiter, Oulton Racer, Hayho and Smith rounds out the top 20. It's then Unsworth, Craig, Tucker, Sturrock, Williams, Johnson, Fat Bloke, Kneebone and Hicks rounds out the top 30. It's then Atherton, Bettison, Rubber, Best, Clarble, KLF, Langley, Cranky Duckhead, Davis, Waste, Sutcliffe and Roy rounds out the Drivers' Championship. Over to the Teams' Championship with a 387 point lead on 639. It is the Greasy Bandits. It is... No, wait. I said it wrong. 1,270. That's points remaining for the championship. My bad. That's a mistake on my end. But it's Greasy Bandits who lead the team's championship on 1,270 points. It's then Cam Racing in P number 2 with 883. It's then FSO Racing Team in P number 3 with SimPlay Racing rounding up in P number 4 slightly behind. P number 5 then goes to Cloud9 Racing, then followed by Richie's Course Team, Stage 2 Motorsport, Fat Bloke Racing, Mad Dog Motorsport, and Team TOM rounds out the top 10 on 462 points. It's then Team Merlot, Roadrunners Motors, Quantum Motorsport, Dolphins Motorsport, RBGT Team, and Team Audio Sport. So ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, let's get ready to rumble. We got 30 seconds. We've got a good old 30 seconds until we get underway here in the first race of the evening. It's the sprint race. We already have an do we already have an RTG? Because there's a car missing in the grid slot.
10 seconds.
But we'll wait and see. As of course it is a 25-degree track temperature, 18-degree ambient, no rain on the forecast. It's a 20-minute race coming right up. So here we go. As we go around the formation lap now, it is Kneebone who will lead us away from the pack. You can see the rest of the drivers moving away now from the grid positions, and it is a interesting one when it comes down to it. It seems like the Porsche there, that is Flem Speed 1, had a moment and an unlucky stall for all the drivers. But let's go through your starting order for you. So it is Kneebone who will line up on pole position. Of course, this is done in reverse championship order, with Johnson lining up at P number 2 to complete the front row. Williams then sits in P number 3. Decent race out last time, looking to go again. Sturrock lines up at P number 4 to finish the second row. Then Tucker P number 5 with Craig P number 6. Tim Merlot having that third row locked out. It's then Flores and Wolski who round up in P number 7 and P number 8, with Taylor P number 9. Varga rounds out in P number 10 to round out the top 10, and it's 2 BMWs in there, mainly dominated by the McLaren. So it's saying Saunders, Stardog, Beck, Flem Speed 1, Millington, Ramsell, Snye, John Goday, Hibbs, Greaves, and Old Sim Racer. No RTGs this week, unlike last time out, as Flem Speed 1 has had a moment. They will be trying to catch up to the rest of the grid order now. A little bit of a in-game glitch, it seems, as somebody did reset to the pit lane there momentarily. Key factors going into this race here at Oulton Park you're going to have to be careful of. The main one, of course, being the fact that it's such a tight circuit. Those first few corners are gonna be infidential. That final corner is gonna be infamous as well. They're gonna be your best overtaking opportunities as you head around this circuit to try and do everything that you need to. And right now it's Kneebone who is leading. It's a McLaren on the front row. Nissan will line up in P number 2. This is where it's going to count. As we come into the back part of this circuit, it is going to go further and further. A little bit more, a little bit less. We'll have to wait and see. The McLaren is known for being a very good all-rounded car. Will it convert tonight? We'll wait and see as they now go double file at this infamous circuit. You have the helicam, as there seems to be a little bit of ping issues with Flores. Hopefully those will fix themselves. But like I said, it's Kneebone P1, Johnson P number 2. It is Oulton Park. It is in the north. It's in Cheshire, and we are just south of Liverpool by an hour and a half drive. Here next to the lake, here at this infamous circuit, they now go double file as the formation lap comes to an end. Through the final corner and over the crest, all eyes look to the lights.
Green light, go, go, go.
Boogity, 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 let's go racing as the green flag drops and away we go. Nebo's going to get an amazing start. Johnson, not so much. Williams already going to be on the inside. The McLaren goes on the inside. There's going to be contact, and that will send him round. Picks up 1, picks up 2, 3, 4, and that is what we were talking about. Hold the brakes. Hope for not too much. How many cars were caught up in that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 at least in that infamous moment. But that's going to be absolute mayhem. A 6-3 Kneebone has got away scot-free with that. You've got to wonder, was that on purpose? Did that Nissan give enough space for the McLaren to go down the inside? But that is giving this man, that's given Kneebone the perfect opportunity. He's flown off into the distance with a 2.8 second gap the last time that we went round. That is Oulton Park for you. Lap 1 chaos, already an RTG, as it does seem for the rest of the grid. And car 180, they also seem to have a moment, and they RTG. 2 drivers already done with this start of the race. A little bit further back, the rest of the drivers trying to make their way through as well. Heading through the chicanes, this is going to be the tricky bit. Where do you line up after the chicanes? We saw Beck, he got majorly caught up in that on lap 1. And look at the front bumper of that McLaren. That is going to be hurting him for the rest of the race as the tyre barrier gets sent into the stratosphere. And that's going to be Stardog who goes off the circuit, and that's going to be extremely unlucky. But continuing on for the rest of this race, over the crest and up you go. A little bit of a jump as we head into the right-hander Little bit. You can see all the drivers who got caught up in that. Hibbs is going to be one of them. High up in the championship, the Greasy Bandits. Although Hibbs, he's P number 9. So how many drivers got caught up in that? We got the big trains. Does Greaves have damage? We may actually be able to get a big thing here. As that's John Gooday. That's the championship. Is going to be the Aston Martin, infamous for his race 2s this season. And that is going to be him off and down. He moves behind his teammate now, and that is just really unlucky. You've got a feel for him. As right now, we've got this nice little free rate train. Battle for the final position on the podium as we are early stages in this race. Only just under 3 minutes has elapsed, and the chaos has ensued. Craig leads this little train. It's Craig versus Taylor versus Flores. It's a McLaren versus a Ferrari versus an Aston in the battle for P number 3. As we go under the crest, and up you go over the little jumpy bit, and try not to lose out too much. On the inside line is where you will see it as we get these beautiful shots at Oulton Park here in the British time, and we go further and further. 16 minutes 53 remain, 25 degree track temperature, track surface is optimum, no rain on the forecast, and 18 degree ambient, no wind happening here, and that is lucky. Of course, you've got the pit window, which will be coming up very, very shortly. Pit stop is required, 25-second minimum, and you are allowed to take tyres, but you don't have to take tyres. However, you must refuel, so that's going to be a split fuel strategy for all these drivers all this season. As you see Old Sim Racer on the back of Varga coming up the main straight, though, you may see the rest of the drivers down into it. You see the Porsche, you see the Beamer. That is plenty of damage on the front ends of those cars, as that is going to be a little bit deep for Flemspeed. One seem to lose out a little bit of time. Hibbs is trying to get past that BMW just in front of him, McGreaves. However, it does not seem to be working out that lap either. The top 3 battle of which we were watching now drop down to a second between each driver. Hibbs on the back of Greaves does continue as we head now down into the hairpin and through and out of Slingshot, as I like to call it. There is calling names, but home circuit, I'm going to give them my own names, aka Slingshot. Through the right-hander into the first chicane, into the lefts, into the rights, into the left again. Onto the throttle one more time. Going to continue here in this race. Got to have Kneebone. He's currently set the fastest lap of this session so far, and he is further into the distance. At the end of lap 1, he was 2.9. Now he's 5.4. He's got this in his grasp. Right now, though, Craig has got away from Taylor, or has Tucker made a mistake, because they were not this close before. Battle for P number 2 and P number 3 going to be underway here in a nice little 4-car train. As the leader drives away with it, how will this develop? The battle for the podium does continue on over the crest and down the pit straight. One of the shortest pit lanes here in the SimPlay Motorsport series for the Pro-Ams. Speaking of pits, the pit window opens, and the first driver in the pits this evening in the pit window will be Saunders. Flemspeed 1 will also follow in. Varga also follows in. Johnson coming around the final corner. Will they follow in? The 101 seeming to be 501, I should say, has actually got a major jump. Ramsell has done a moment, or is he close to being lapped? We'll wait and see. 25-second minimum pit stop time, and that is it. And that is for refueling mandatory. We got Greaves versus Gooday versus Hibbs. His apologies that we missed that. It is going to be Gooday who has now got past Hibbs. Maybe a track position, maybe a swap between teammates. He knows that he's faster. He's said it plenty of times. Go get him, Tiger. As you go continuing on through these parts of the circuit, they do head through the chicane. Maybe a little bit of a mistake at one of these chicane. Could have been the thing that cost them before, but we shall wait and have a moment. As Sturrock now closing in on Stardog. You can already see it actually. 2 laps down is Stardog. So Stardog, Sturrock, Ramsell, Williams and Argent 2 laps down in this race. And of course, let us know what you're rooting for over Twitch chat. That is going to be John Gooday. He's off, and that is a mistake by him. Hibbs has got past, Taylor's got past. He drops down to P number 8. So through these right-handers, down the hill and up through Deer Leap. Through these corners further and further, John Gooday makes the call. Box, 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 box. first of the Greasy Bandits to call their pit this evening. 26 degrees. We've gone up for 1 degree, so the tyres may starting to be getting a little bit hot, but I would highly doubt it. As right now, Hibbs is making his way around the circuit. He was 0.9 behind Greaves. Is it still going to be there? You can see it is right there with him, trying to close in behind. As we look over the rear wing of Greaves, even though it's not exactly the best rear wing, because it's big. We got a big boy. We got a big boy rear wing on the back of this Beamer, and it does continue going around this circuit through the little chicane bits, through the left-hander, onto the throttle one more time. Hibbs continues to close in, plenty of drivers into the pit lane. Sturrock, Millington. Millington's in, Stardog, Sturrock, Sturrock, and Ramsell. There's so many drivers with S's in their name. But the top 8 yet to pit, as well as the 3 who I just mentioned. Ramsell now the fastest driver out there on the circuit. Craig is actually, this is a big thing. This is a very, very, very big thing. Nebo, he's made a mistake while we were looking away, so that's my apologies for this down, but he is now P number 3. Craig and Tucker have got past, and they're now leading. But into the pit lane, welcome Craig, Craig and Nebo. Craig and Nebo stay out as Tucker comes in. Flores also stays out there momentarily. How will the drivers be able to continue on with this race in hand and further round this circuit? A little bit of a jump as is my ACC having a moment? No, oh, that is why Flores is having a big ping moment. Yeah, Flores is having a big ping moment. Look at that ping. Anyway, anywho's gonna do all this thing into the lefts, into the rights, onto the back stretch one more time. 11 minutes 5 remaining this race. Onto the throttle again we go. 5 laps in, 0.364 behind Craig and Kneebone. The big question, we saw him come into the pits, that's Tucker. Now coming out, just coming out of the pit lane, where will he end up? Will he continue to be in front of these 2 drivers, or will he end up falling behind? They've still got 5 minutes, 44 seconds left in this pit window. Ladies and gentlemen, don't forget to do your pit windows, because I know a few drivers sometimes forget about it. Hibbs this entire race has been on the back of Greaves. So we'll wait and see. Battle for P number 4 currently going on at this moment in time. Through the right-hander, down the little crest, through into the final parts of this section. And then they got to call their pit box soon. Through the right-hander, try get it perfect. Use the outside line. Use the outside if you need to. The BMW will call the pit box, and that will give Hibbs the opportunity. Clean air now opens up for him. He will begin to drive ahead. How long will that last though? With that Nissan of Johnson just ahead of him. As we reach the halfway mark here at Oulton Park, as we go back, Brian, as Kneebone is now leading as Craig has called the pits, so is Greaves. They've come in for their pit lane. As that is going to be an incident. Not an incident, that was a car on the side of the track. That was Taylor. Taylor's at a moment. That's going to put John Gooday right on the back of him as they head into the final few sections of this circuit, into the back stretch, here in the second half of this sprint race, and onto the brakes one more time. Through the right-hander, onto the main straight. Here we go. All these drivers have made their pit stop. Where will they come out? With number 52 says come into the pit lane finally. They're still sat in there. Taylor going to be continuing on in this battle. Flem Speed 1, Snipe, Taylor and John Gooday are all in this battle together. 4-way train in the battle for P number 9. Looking to get past all these drivers as much as possible. This is the key thing though. Taylor and John Gooday have no damage. When you look at the front end, of Snipe and Flem Speed 1's car, you can see the bonnets have come up a little bit. As in the background, you can see it. John Gooday looks for the move down the inside, although it's not going to work out. So through the right-hander, they will take these positions as we continue looking at that timing board on the left-hand side. Old Sim Racer now on the defensive as he's got Wolski right behind him as well. Keep an eye on this battle as into the pit lane they will both come. It's going to be a battle of the pit crews as the battle for P number 9 continues further down the circuit and further into the lab. Of course, they are behind the driver who just pitted, as that's going to be a mistake from Snide. It seems rear end wobble there momentarily. Taylor's going to be right there with him. Snide will cost him a bit of time. That's going to be a little touch of the grass. He's going to be slower coming out into this section of corners. Will it work out though, or will the Ferrari not be advantaged? That BMW can get back on the throttle quite a bit quickly. Not as much though, as that's Flame Speed 1 off, hits the barrier, loses 3 positions, and that is going to be completely of his own accord. There was no contact at all, and that is Flem Speed 1 now down into P number 12. Snide versus Taylor versus John Goodey. Freeway battle, they go 2 abreast into turn number 1. Taylor looks for the outside, not going to work out that time. Decides to go for the switchback. They got to be careful though, because they got traffic coming out of the pits. That's old Sim Racer, so we talked about this. All these drivers are so closely bunched up. Now at the end of this pit lane, we went from a 3-way fight, we went from a 4-way fight to a 3-way fight, now to a 5-way fight. As we head around this circuit, old Sim Racer having to defend from the man who's infamous in this league, the man who's had an amazing championship so far this season. John Goodey's right behind him. Old Sim Racer seeming to go a little bit deep, may give it extra speed out of the corner though. Going to be looking for the inside line, going to be going into the left-hander and into the chicane, as it does bring the pace down to a snail's race. That's going to be John Goodey. He goes deep in the chicane. Here comes Taylor around the outside. That's going to give him it back. Flem Speed 1 may have seen that just ahead of him, and now he's got the opportunity. He wants it back, as they do continue here. As T Nebo now into the pit lane. The race leader comes into the pit lane. This is the key factor. Where is he going to come out compared to Tucker and Hibbs? Where is he going to come? He's finally back on the move, but where is the rest of the drivers? Hibbs and Tucker, it looks like they've been battling for quite a while. Kneebone's there. He's coming out the pit lane. We will most likely see the other 2 drivers coming through the right-hander in just a second. You can see him in the background. So even though it wasn't working out for him earlier on, that battle has cost them both. Kneebone continues to hold on to the lead of the Oulton Park sprint race here in Season 7. It's round number 10. It is Oulton Park, as we have one more battle. These 2, as Greaves has got past Flores, most likely due to a few issues on the internet side, it seems. As I believe Flores, no, it's still going. It's a weird pit lane thing, which it does sometimes. As Flem Speed 1 still trying to catch up. That front end damage though is not going to be helping him out in the slightest. He's starting to fall back. John Goodey now behind Taylor and Old Sim Racer. That mistake by him has definitely cost him. Snide all over the rear, sniffing all over the rear bumper of that Beamer ahead of him. It's a battle of the Beamers, battle of the Germans here on British soil, and by Germans I mean German engineering. As we continue down throughout this race, 5 minutes remain. Well, 6 seconds as well, but you know what I mean. As right now, Varga versus Saunders. Varga versus Beck, I should say. Beck was the driver who got caught up in that lap 1 incident, which will 100% be under investigation around the outside. But was that unintentional? Who was at fault there? We'll have to wait and see. I'm not going to give my verdict, even though I've got one. I'm going to leave it to the stewards, because I do not want to say anything controversial. As right now, battle on the podium here in the final 5 minutes. Hibbs and Tucker have been going at this for quite a while. They've got to be careful though. They've got Craig, they got Greaves, and they've got they got Greaves and Craig coming up behind them. They've got to be real careful that they don't end up fighting to each other too much, and then that ends up costing them. Through the left-hander we will go, continuing round in this race. Heading down, as my thing has a moment, heading down throughout the rest of this circuit, into this race, into this battle, as they will continue going on for this race, for these moments. It continues into the chicane, into the moments, into every single bit of action that you need around this circuit. Here comes Hibbs, looking for the move, maybe down into the second chicane, but it's not going to be right there with them, as they do keep it clean. They keep it going into the second chicane. Could there be a mistake on the exit? Flores having a Mr. Stark, I don't feel so good moment, as right now he looks for the outside line. Hibbs got right on the grass. He wants that move done. He wants that position, but will he get it by the end of this race? That is the true question for every single moment and every single opportunity that these drivers take throughout the entirety of this race. It is the battles that we love. Nebo leads by 7 such seconds at the last timing marker. We'll see right now what his Tucker's lead, 7.9, nearly at 8 seconds. But not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 drivers caught in this battle for P2. As right now we've got this battle as well, Wolski versus Sny, as here comes John Gooday. You can see in the background, he's right on the back of Old Sim Racer, looks for the outside, but it's not going to work out that time. And onto the throttle as much as you need it. So we'll wait and see as we head down the hill one more time. The battle for the lead is also continuing, well, the battle for the podium, I should say, is beginning to heat up as we head around this track, as you come out of what I call slingshot and then into the first of the 2 chicanes, heading into the braking zone, into the left-hander. A little bit of each movement, every single moment, every single chance you get through the left, into the right, then onto the back straight one more time. It looks like Hibbs is going to have the advantage, but that damage is going to be costing him on the straight. Tucker will continue to be ahead, down into the second chicane, and it looks like that's where it will stay. So through these final few corners, looking at the lap times here, the leader has just come through that first corner. It's 1:35s. Is he going to be going for another lap or not? He can keep it back. We'll keep an eye on him in the final few corners as we continue out this one as well. Sny has had a moment actually, as he's now fallen behind Flame Speed 1. He's fallen behind Taylor. Was there an incident between all these drivers? As they've fallen quite far back now. Sny is going a lot slower as well, so that is unfortunate, it does seem. But around the rest of this circuit, the battle for the podium continues, but is the gaps not enough yet? Through the hairpin, we will go. A little bit of banking to use that moment, and through the right-hander, into the left-hander again. A little bit of crest, a little bit of time, and then onto the throttle again. Here comes the McLaren, always seeming to have a little bit better launch than Tucker, but does Tucker have that setup done so that it has more straight line speed compared to Hibbs? Through the left-hander, it will now come. 20 seconds remain in this race. Will the leader come to the line in time to set another lap? We will wait and see, as Nebo as 10 seconds remain here on the clock, and I do believe we will get another lap, but we're going to go to Tucker. As actually, no, I do not believe we're going to get another lap, so this is going to be it. They're going to have to make their moves, as it is this man, it's Nebo, who wins the sprint here at Oulton Park. They're going to have to get these moves now done now, though. Hibbs looking for Tucker, but it's not going to be have enough time. He's not going to have another lap, and it's unlucky, but that's Tucker P2, Hibbs P3. Unlucky race, it seems, for John Gooday. Had an amazing start, lost it in the middle, and then recovered for P8. So not the best race, but still not one to doubt. His teammate up there in P3. The rest of the grid now coming through. Flame Speed 1, who had that moment earlier on in this race, they dropped down to P12. Nice recovery up into P10. Big question though, was it this man who caused the incident on lap number 1, or was it the Nissan? We'll have to wait for the stewards to come through and give their verdict. Sturrock still heading around the circuit, same with Williams. In fact, no, it might have been Williams, not Beck. That is my apologies. They both have the same livery. But without further ado, is this man who wins the sprint here? That's Nebo. And he wins the sprint here at the Oulton Park. We are going to be back with qualifying in just a little bit of a while, but then we will continue with the feature race as well.
And yes, he is. I am going to hand it because we've got some information for you, chat. Matthew Duffin, take it away.
Matthew Duffin,
Yes.
take it away.
Lexi, thank you very much for that one. Right, so as you well know, we're coming to the back end of our championship at the moment. We're going to obviously be looking into now the next season. Now, due to the SimBot and the lap data, we know that the Patreons normally select the circuits, but due to the lap data lack of, we've decided to pick this year's tracks, or next year's tracks. Now, there will be 13 races. This is going to be the bonus of this. What we're going to do tonight is we're going to spin the order of these races, and we'll get the order of next season's calendar. What the patrons can now pick is what they would like as a night race, an evening race, or an early morning race. This is options that we're going to give to them this season, so then we'll have lap data on every single circuit. Returning back to that of the patrons get to pick the tracks for for the season after. So for season 8, this will be the way that the calendar will look. This will be the order, not the night races or the races that they will be. This will be the order. So as you can see on your screen now, we've got the wheel of names. And like Ben says, it is calendar time. Right, first track of the season then will be, and I haven't got my notepad so I can't jot this down. It's there. So the first race of the season, we will return to Belgium and we'll head over to the Zolder circuit. Obviously Zolder, probably most famous at SimPlay Motorsport for mine and Dan's incident in the pit lane. We won't go into that, but that was an interesting time. So Zolder will be round 1 of the season. Round 2 of the season then, we're going to head over to that of the Temple of Speed, and that is going to be Monza for race 2 of the season. So already 2 different. Why Kota? I begged for no Kota. Obviously next season's going to be a 13-track calendar. So we've got Zolder, we've got Monza. Race 3 of the season, we stay in Europe, we head to Holland, we go to that of Zandvoort. You thought tonight was tricky to overtake. We head to Zandvoort, which is going to make it even more tricky. That will be race 3 of the championship this year. Race 4 for next season, for season 8 of SimPlay Motorsport, will be the home of SimPlay Motorsport, and that is Donington Park, then bringing you week 4 action here at SimPlay Motorsport. What a fantastic track to be on for our mid-stage, or nearly mid-stage of the season. Donington Park bringing you round 4. Round 5 then of the championship is going to provide, I'm sure, a lot of drama. Still some great tracks. Apart from that one, Kota is picked for round 5, so we go straight from home of SimPlay stateside for Kota, round 5 of the championship. Track limits galore around there. Race 6 of the season. We're going to head to sunny Spain and the hot stint, our hot stint destination, if you will. We're going to head to that of Barcelona for round number 6 of the season. So that is going to make up the first 6 races, the first half, if you will, obviously with 13 races this season. Race 7 of the championship is going to be then that of the Hungaroring, that of Benedict Varga's home race. It will be week 7 of the season for all you people watching there. So that is week 7 of the championship. Week number 8 then, after the Hungaroring, we will head to Italy once again for Misano. The bike circuit obviously will be Misano for week 8 and week 9. Will we go from one bike circuit to another? Valencia on this list. Now we're going to go from Italy to France. We're going to head to Paul Ricard for week number 9 of this championship. After week number 9, obviously we head into that final 4. 10, 11 and 12 left to go. Suzuka, back to Japan. I say back to Japan, we've not been there for a while. So Suzuka will be our destination for week number 10. Into the final 3. And the first of the final 3 will be that of Laguna Seca. It looks like, yes, Laguna Seca. So we go from Japan to America for Laguna Seca, leaving 2 tracks left. Valencia, which ended the season 2 seasons ago, or Snetterton. And the penultimate round of season 8 will be Snetterton then, the home circuit of many a driver here at SimPlay Motorsport. Will be the penultimate round of season 8, leaving Valencia the season finale of the season. So once again, Season 8, for those who have just joined in on the channel, Zolder will open up next season as Race 1. Monza will be Race 2 from Zandvoort Race 3. Donington Park Race 4 with Kota Race 5. Barcelona Race 6. Hungary Race 7. Round 8 will be Misano. Round 9, Paul Ricard. Round 10, Suzuka. Round 11, Laguna Seca. Round 12, Snetterton. And round 13 will be Valencia. Once again, for those drivers who are Patreons, it will be posted in the Patreon chat. They will get to pick what is a night, morning and evening race. So the calendar will be announced within the next couple of weeks when all that has been decided. But that then will allow us that all Simbot data and all lap data that we need provided to us at SimPlay Motorsport will be done and will be correct now with the next 13 tracks. The only reason we are doing 13, Donington Park is our home, and we've decided to keep the home of SimPlay on there for another season. Obviously, if you haven't already done so, please hit that thumbs up button and subscribe to the channel if you are new, as well as hitting that bell to be notified. Thank you all for listening there. We are, though, going to go to a quick intermission break while we head into the second qualifying session in about 5 minutes' time, where Alexa Marshall, Lexi, will be bringing you all the action once again. So stay where you are, stay tuned, and we'll see you shortly.
And welcome back, race fans, to
welcome back, race fans, to qualifying here at Oulton Park for the feature race. Of course, it's a 15-minute qualifying session followed by a 1-hour feature race, and it was an interesting turn of events in the sprint race. Major pile up at turn number 1, which I am now going to be calling, thank you Discord, Oulton Car Park. So I'm going to be calling turn 1 car park from now on, as right now we have plenty of drivers out on track. Is the driver, is the man, is Nebo? Yes he is, Nebo just coming out of the pit lane. So that is the man who won the sprint race. We'll see what he can do here in qualifying around this lovely circuit, which I am totally not biased to because it's my home circuit. I have no idea why people would assume that, as right now it's going to be Hibbs who will be going around this circuit. He's the first one who's going to be getting a lap time in. Can he keep it validated though? Let's wait and see as he comes across the line to start his lap time here at the Oulton Park circuit. So down through turn number 1, through into turn number 2, through the right-hander and everything you know. Right-hander, left-hander I should say. As we ride on board, going to be making our way around this into the circuit. Is the audio balance perfect? Let me know in the chat. Heading down and through the crest we will go. I need to end it. As through the left-hander, one more time. Nice and tidy, nice and clean for everything that we need. And then onto the throttle again. Out of what I call slingshot and down towards chicane number 1. Through these corners, they are infamous, they are tricky. Where will Hibbs put it? He will put it absolutely nowhere, as he is invalidated that lap, as there are plenty of drivers out on the circuit, as everybody seems to have the blue. So we're just going to ride on board with Hibbs as we continue around this circuit. Through the right-hander, into the left-hander, doesn't send the tyre barrier into the stratosphere like some people would prefer. Through the right-hander one more time, and over the crest and under the gangway we go. Past the Oulton Park sign and onto the bumpy bit. This is a very, very, very bumpy circuit, especially if you're on wheel. That force feedback is going to be rattling. Through the right-hander and onto the crest, over a little bump, under the bridge, and here we go. 1 bump, 2 bumps, a little bit of a drop as you head down into the final corner. Through the right-hander one more time, and out to the throttle as you head into the elite. Through the left-hander, goes to the line, goes to P. Number 1 is, okay, apparently everybody's blue, you know, they're on lap times, okay. As Ramsell now going to be starting a lap time here at Oulton Park. Snipe, 0.303 behind the top lap time. Craig, P number 3, 3 seconds behind. That gets thrown by Greaves, who goes 1.845 behind. Ramsell goes wide, going to lose a bit of time there, maybe the validation on the exit. Here comes Williams, maybe at fault for that lap 1 incident in the sprint race, or maybe not. We'll have to wait and see. A little bit later on the exit, as that is unlucky, not hitting the apex. Through the right-hander, through the first one, through the second one, into the little drop, and into the right-hander again. Passing that absolutely tiny grandstand. That's the only one you have here at Oulton. Through the left-hander, where you see one on the other side of the garage, on the other side as well. Over you go, goes to P3, 1.583 behind Hibbs, who's set for the fastest lap time. Wolski making his way around the circuit as well. Let's wait and see. Indeed, that does. I am gonna point that out actually. Varga does have a qualifying ban. Also, key information, Greasy Bandits can win the Constructors today. Well, teams, technically. I call it teams. Some people call it Constructors, I call it teams. But we'll wait and see what Wolski can do. As Mike Kowalski. I don't know why, when I see this livery and I see the green, I just think of Mike Kowalski from Monsters Incorporated. Who knows? As through the crest, we will go into the left-hander again. And trying to get as much speed as possible as the 313 seems to have a moment and resets to the pit lane. Nope, that was Simon. 3, he actually fastest. 1:33. 0.372. John Gooday goes P number 3, 0.363 off the current top lap time. Of course, everybody's going to be getting track improvements. It's a 24-degree track. Wolski does not get a lap time in. No, yes, he does. 1 minute, 1.480 off the top lap time. I don't know why my controller keeps on doing that. We apologise for the disturbance when it comes down to that. As we do continue here in qualifying, I'm going to get everything up on my screen real quick. Bear with me, chat. So we'll wait and see how everything will do. As hello, Leo. Can actually see chats now. If you're wondering what I'm doing, chat, I should have done this before. I'm getting all my chats up. So as we do continue around this circuit, this is the thing when it comes down to Oulton Park. Qualifying is always a spectacle around this circuit. Sny's still going fastest. He comes into the final part of this section of track, and we wait and see to see what they can do. Because one little slip up during qualifying costs you a whole lot of time. Sny will keep that lead up at the top time at the current moment, as there is still some people yet to get lap times in. Ramsel, Flores, Sturrock, Tucker. All drivers yet to get lap times in. Flores with some ping issues. It seemed at the early parts of the race. Cam Racing have to not be beaten by 9 points. Cam Racing have to stay within 9 points of Greasy Bandits today. Otherwise, they will lose out, and Greasy Bandits will get it. Key factor though, it's provisional. So what happens at the end of the race? At the end of the race may not stay due to penalties, etc., which may be added on due to stewards' findings. We'll wait and see though as we continue around the Oulton Park circuit, over the crest, through the first bump, through the second bump, into the dip at the end. And here we go. As Ramsel sits pin number 3, Hibbs has gone top, 1 minute 32.997. So this is the infamous part with these types of circuits. It comes down to some lovely little battles. So Hibbs currently sat top, Sny follows, followed by John Gooday. It is a Greasy Bandits 1-3 as it currently stands here in qualifying. But with every moment comes opportunity. And you've got to wonder, what opportunities are these drivers going to take tonight here around this circuit? We saw what happened in that first race, in the sprint race. So, coming into the feature race, at the end of qualifying, which ends in 5 minutes 52 seconds, who's going to be having that advantage when it comes down to the footing of each driver? Who's going to have that advantage when it comes down to the perspective? Who's going to have that? Who's going to have the mentality where they know where to go? Slight yawn, my apologies. I should have really turned my vision light on. As right now, watching John Gooday. Still people in the pits. Varga, Johnson on old sim racer. Varga has a penalty. He is not allowed to compete in this qualifying session. So he will not be getting a lap time in. The other two may be opting. We saw what happened in the sprint. They may think it's going to happen again. So they do not want to risk it. Well, here we go. That was a nice little overtake, actually, down the back straight. So these battles are going to be the infamous parts, really, when it comes down to Auto Park. But, like I said, always a spectacle with qualifying. Hibbs is currently fastest as... Hello. That was a little bit of a moment there for him, coming out of that second chicane. Maybe fuel or something. Current slowest driver is Flores. 3.860 behind the top time. Are they going to go anywhere higher up the order? We shall wait and see, as only 21 drivers on this grid tonight. And through the right-hander, Flores will come, trying to get that movement in, but only stays in P number 18. Varga, Johnson, and Old Sim Racer, all in the pit lane. Not opted to not compete in qualifying, unlike Varga, who has a penalty. And by penalty, I mean he got a no-no where he's not allowed to compete in qualifying go. As 3 minutes 30 remain in this session. So, key factor here, Hibbs is in the pit lane, and he's not coming out, I don't think. I think Hibbs has completed his qualifying session. He's done what he needs to do. So, I think he is just hoping, as that was a moment. There is dust flying. Hey, there he is. Whoa, hello. That was tricky. Where's he at? That was straight on, sir. So, Nebon, we'll watch him for a little bit because he won the sprint. He won the sprint race here. So, wait and see as Vargas saying, Mr. Hibbs, what are you doing in the 32s? That is a good question. What is Hibbs doing in the 32s? What he is doing is being a speedy boy. He is being a speedy person because Hibbs is speedy. Then again, everybody's speedy because everybody's moving a lot faster in those cars than you would realise. Honestly, some people may be on controller, some people may be on wheel, and it is a workout either way. Into the right-hander and onto the throttle as you do continue going round further and further. Eats a little lap, and it is going to be staying in P number 12 for Kneebone. But they may side their way through the field in qualifying, in the feature race. That's another key factor to think about. The feature race is very different to the sprint race. Of course, the pit stop rules do still apply, with the pit stop being a mandatory pit stop for refueling. However, tyres are not. However, you do not have to take tyres. If you do take tyres, it's an extra 5 seconds. It's a 30-second stop, and that is the big thing. Also, it's extremely hard to correct your pit box here. If there's loads of people coming into the pits at exactly the same time, then they may not be hitting their pit box because they cannot see it. Because it's such a short pit lane, everybody is so bunched up. So how will that affect the drivers when we get down to qualifying? Not when we get down to the race, I should say. My brain is not braining, apparently. I apologise. We're going a little bit extra per these laps. Less than 20 seconds now remain on the clock. And Kneebone comes to the line, goes up into P number 10. Will they be going for another lap here? That is a big question that they are going to be wondering. As nope, they will go and they will pull over. Still plenty of drivers out there. 741. That's going to be Stardog looking for an improvement here. Goes over through the bumps and down into the little dip. Hits the brakes, hits the right-hander, onto the throttle. Here we go, over the crest and into the pit lane. No lap time being improvement there. coming over to the 52. What have they done? They are on a lap time here. Argent going to look for an improvement in the Boatley. What are they going to be able to do here in the bend, here in the British soil? Only goes P number 13. Taylor still heading around this circuit. Hibbs current fastest lap time, 1 minute 32.977. And that is going to be off the circuit and real unlucky. The number 59 is the only driver still out there. That is going to be Millington, who goes to the line. And Millington, did he get an improvement there? Yes, he did. Millington P4, Ramsell P5, and it's him. So it's a Greasy Bandits 1-3, but then it's a Cam Racing 4-5, and Greasy Bandits have to outscore, and Cam have to outscore Greasy, but have to stay within 9 points of Greasy Bandits to ensure that Greasy Bandits don't win the championship. Of course, it's all provisional. So let's have a little look at these times now. You're going to be able to see it on your screen. That was the lap times there. In qualifying, it's Hibbs who went fastest, 1 minute 32.977. Only driver to get into the 1 minute 32s. He set the fastest sector 2 and 3, not the fastest sector 1. That went to Williams in the McLaren. But that is the only driver in the 1 minute 32s. And then it is Snipey number 2 with 1 minute 33.372. 1 minute 33.735 goes to John Gooday. So realistically, we've got a nice mix here as we head around this circuit, around this track, as there is 20 seconds until we get into the good old formation lap. Let me make sure my thing works. And let's wait and see, as all of the drivers are going to be right there with them.
10 seconds.
You can see the leader just under the leaderboard. And all the drivers are going to be starting to drive away from the grid in 3, 2, 1. And here we go. Hibbs leads them away on the formation lap. So as the formation lap gets underway, we will go through the grid order in just a second, as the rest of the drivers still yet to make their way off the grid order. Awesome Racer will be the last one to get going, and the formation lap is underway. Going through the grid order for you, it is Hibbs who lines up on pole position from qualifying. He got the other driver to reach the 1 minute 32's Greasy Bandits, always looking good in this season. They can win the championship tonight. Not the drivers, but the constructors. And they will continue to go here as Sny lines up in P number 2, splitting the Greasy Bandits. John Gooday, who lines up in P number 3 to start the second row, with the Cam Racing boys either side of him. It's Millington P4, Ramsell P number 5. Then Beck in P number 6 for Stage 2 Motorsport. Another duo right next to each other between Williams and Beck. It's then Saunders, Reeves, T-Bone, Stardog, Craig, Argent, Sturrock, Tucker, Flimspeed 1, Flores, Taylor, Varga, Johnson, and Old Sim Racer. He will be lining up at the back of the pack. This man will be leading the pack, as we have already had a unfortunate disconnect at the start of this race. Hopefully they can get back into the race eventually when it comes down to it, as we have got support in the chat for Hibbs. So it looks like the Greasy Bandit supporters are out in force tonight, as Clouden is going to be the one cheering him on. But will the fans in the stands or the hills around the circuit? One of the best parts around this circuit is you just get fans at the side of the circuit like that. It's a proper racing circuit. It's a proper home, and it's why I love it. But ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble. As we head into sector number 3, this is where the battle fight begins, because we do not want an incident like lap number 1 in the sprint. So here we go then. As all the drivers, as the formation lap comes to an end, the drivers will now go double file. They go side by side. They go two abreast as they come through this final corner. It's Oulton Park. We've had the sprint. We now go to the feature as the final ones come out the back part of the circuit. It's all eyes to the Oulton Park lights.
Green light, give it all you can.
Boogity, 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 let's go racing as Hibbs is going to have him. He's dropped back a little bit. Snyde got that amazing start. He's not going to slip in there though. John Godet already looking for the move. Little bit of a battle between the Cam Racing boys. Same with the Stage 2 Motorsport people. Little bit of battle further back. Greaves versus Saunders. Fat Bloke Racing on the outside. Little bit of contact. Tries to take evasive action. That was contact into an overtake. That is what we love. And that is one way to recover. As we head through, number 4 has had a moment. That is going to be number 4. That is Taylor. He's had a moment at the start of this race. Snyde, it says Snyde's leading. No, it doesn't. It says that Hibbs leading, followed by Snyde, followed by Godet, followed by Millington and Ramsell. Not really much change. Up there in the top, number 5. Stage 1 Motorsport already losing out. They've lost 1 place to Saunders, who made a little bit of contact with the Beamer of Fat Bloke Racing. That was Greaves. However, a little bit of contact kind of helped him into an overtake. So realistically, who got the short end of the stick? T-Bone, very good start. Stage P number 10 for the time being. We haven't had a massive pile up, and that's what we love here at SimPlay Motorsport. But right now, Stardog's going to be right there with him. Through the right-hander, onto the throttle, heading through the line and through abreast. It's 25-degree track temperature, 18-degree ambient, optimal surface, and no rain on the forecast, which honestly does not make sense for Oulton Park. But we continue around this battle, through this track, through this circuit, as Snyde versus Hibbs. Hibbs is flying away. John Godet trying to chase down Snyde. Heading through this track, through the right-hander, onto the throttle as much as possible, maybe lose a little bit of time. John Godet looks like he's going to have a run here, looking for the move, trying to make his way through. On the outside as they head into the bottom of the hill. Looked like there was almost contact, but they kept it clean. Down the inside, Snyde remains in P number 2, John Godet, P number 3, but he's not going to give it up. He's going to look for it round the outside. You don't want to go for a move there. Onto the marbles, won't work out that time either. And into the hairpin we will go. What I like to call slingshot. But what we got to remember, Cam Racing are right behind him. He has to get past Snyde as quickly as possible, because even if we look over the rear wing of Snyde, you can see him, the white, the blue and the green, the Cam Racing boys lurking in the back. One mistake by John Godet could give Cam that perfect opportunity. The combination as the tyres get sent in the stratosphere, the combination of Millington and Ramsell, they are both a duo to be reckoned with. Same with Hibbs and John Godet. What it looks like for the time being, they're going to remain there as we head over the crest. Rest of the change drivers making their way through the circuit. We've got plenty of a train here. Johnson seeming to have a moment. He's fallen further back at the end of that lap. But right now, these drivers giving it everything they've got. Lap number 2 now comes to an end, and we go on to lap number 3 here at Oulton Park as they do keep it there. Snyde seeming to open up a little bit. Cam Racing of Millington and Ramsell seeming to choose positions there as they now want to keep it clean. Of course, it's not a sprint. This is a feature race. You've got 3 times the length of it heading into this track. A little bit more throttle heading over the bump and into the braking zone. Into the left-hander we will go, and onto the braking zone as that's going to be Ramsell. He had that slingshot, what I like to call, and that's going to cost him quite a bit of time. He's going to lose out to Saunders maybe. No, he won't. He only lost 1 position there, luckily. But that is still unlucky for him. That's going to leave Millington the only front gunner. That's going to leave Millington the only front gunner for the time being to try and get past John Godet. That's the 418 as at a moment. That is Flores. You can see him right there, down in the second chicane. No idea what happened there. Maybe a slight bit of contact or maybe too much throttle, seeming to struggle to get the car going again. But looks like it's going to be there for the time being. Kneebone has been here for a while. He's chilling in P number 10. And to be honest, that isn't a bad idea. If you could just pick up those little mistakes that the drivers in front of you make, then you're going to be getting these battles as they do continue down here. The main straight, the battle to round out the top 10. Not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5. Possibly 6 drivers if they all bunch up a slight bit more here at battle for P number 5 technically. But we're focusing on the battle for P number 10 between Kneebone and Greaves. I should say battle for P number 9. It looks like Greaves went a little bit wide there, but that's not going to give Kneebone a good enough opportunity to try and slip through. Just going to play it safe. You can see another battle. You can also see another train falling behind right there. That's Craig took Sturrock and Varga. Varga actually, they had a qualifying ban. Started P number 19, now up into P number 14. We're only 5 minutes into this race, so Varga's not having that much of a bad start realistically. Through the right hand, through the left hander, into the right hander, onto the throttle again, over the crest, down the hill we will go. And with every single lap, you get these nice little battles, you get these lovely little opportunities as you head around this little circuit known as Oulton Park, known as my little home. Not, I'm further away from it than you think, but it's still the closest race circuit to me, okay? So right now, continuing to go, as actually Ramsell looked like he was on the back of Beck there momentarily. Unlucky. Millington still that front gunner, kind of slipping into a bit of a no man's land as John Gooday stays with Snai. Snai actually now picking up the fastest lap of this race. Williams is right behind him as well, trying to keep that little moment there. And through these little battles, we will continue to go through the left-hander, trying to keep it clean and tidy, but seemingly not enough space or time to get through right now. Gonna go through Twitch, gonna go through the chat real quick. We see going Varga, also see Prez Mac and Clouden and Mac. Also see Matthew Duffin in there as well as Dan. Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Oulton Park. Welcome to SimPlay Motorsport. It's season 7. It's round number 10. It is the Pro-Ams. That's going to be a mistake by Saunders. That's going to give Williams an opportunity. Greaves takes the opportunity. What about Nebo? Lambert touching the grass, wheel to wheel, side by side, gets it past, gets it done. That's Nebo, and like I was saying, you find those little mistakes by the drivers in front, and that will give you those little opportunities. As Ramsell seeming to be on the back of Beck for a while now. Oh, that is the 180. That is the yellow flags of the 180. That's Williams. What has happened there? Car park there, sir. That's the 418 actually, now in a battle, little battle at the back. 418, nope, not anymore, as Johnson goes on the grass and goes for a spin. So through the right hand, they're onto the throttle as much as possible. Flame speed 1 actually. Got to be looking for the back of this battle. The Bentley seeming to hold its own as we head throughout the rest of this race. As on the exit, here comes the Porsche. Going to be getting a little bit more of a move here, coming down the back stretch. Does he look for it round the outside, down into the chicane? The Porsche is going to stay there with him. A little bit of touch on the grass, a little bit of undulation, a little bit of contact actually. And that will bring an end to that battle. The Porsche just about unable to get past in that moment. Oh! And that is contact, round you go. Was Flem Speed 1 at fault for that, or was it just the opportunity? As somebody in the chat saying, Oulton makes you pay big time with the smallest hiccups. Indeed it does. As I found out last night, you clip the grass here, and you will end up going round. As soon as you... Because this circuit is so bumpy, as no, that is the sprint race winner, and that is Kneebone, who's had a moment, was P10, drops to P14, and that is unlucky. That was on the exit. That is the sprint race winner, just as we were talking about small hiccups. We saw him there on the side of the circuit, and that is really, really unlucky. As SimPlay Motorsport himself saying you have to be so good every lap here, as that's contact between Flem Speed 1 and Kneebone. That was way too late on the brakes by the Porsche. That is a major punt into the next time zone, and that is going to from bad to worse. That is the sprint race winner, not catching a break here at Oulton Park feature. You have got to feel for him. He was P10, he's now P19, and he's round again. Definitely damage to that the rear end of the car. We know what the McLaren is like. It's like the Ferrari. You do not want to get damage on it. Without damage, it's perfect. Yeah, there is definitely damage on that car. Quite a bit of it, most likely to the rear diffuser, which brings it quite a bit of its downforce. And that is unlucky. Kneebone. Kneebone, the sprint race winner, now at the bottom of the pack. Tyres are hot. He's got damage to the front and rear, most likely. And he's going to stay it out. He's got to keep on going. And that is... Oh, you've got to feel for the man. You have got to feel for the man. Anywho's, Bath P number 13 going on right now. Unlucky for some when it comes down to it, and it is going to be Old Sim Racer versus Sturrock. So we keep on going here, and like we were saying, Oulton Park, it punishes that. But were there any mistakes on his end, really? Kneebone was doing everything he needed to. He spun and he lost 4 positions. He kept it going, but into the chicane we'll let the stewards deal with it. But personally for me, by no fault of his own, and no surprise, just realizing now that is an RTG by Kneebone. Is that a retirement from this race, or is that an RTG to fix damage? We'll have to wait and see. The sprint race winner is out of the running in the top 10, and it looks like it's going to stay that way for the rest of the race. If he decides to retire, that is on his own accord. As right now, battle for P number 9, Craig versus Varga versus Stardog. 3 drivers, a little bit less known. These 3 drivers, personally, in my opinion, a little bit less known in the Pro-Ams. They usually sat right here, right about in the mid-pack, and they do have some nice little battles. We've got a nice mix of McLaren versus Beamer versus Ford versus Ferrari. I almost called I almost called a Ferrari a Ford. The Tifosi would have my head. As right now, through the right-hander, a little bit of a downhill grade. I think this is one of the things as well. That penultimate corner just before Dia Leap, as that is the number 22. They've had a moment. That is going to be Sturrock, and they are on the right-hand side. Maybe a little bit of a moment coming onto the exit. Maybe trying to lose it, trying to catch it, but unlucky as well. The McLaren seeming to not catch a break here, as the Nissan actually had to take a little bit of evasive action. Reason I didn't realise it was a Nissan is because it wasn't in the Quantum livery. My feud up. I'll watch the pros tomorrow. As right now, going to be continuing on in this fight as well. Continuing with the straight line speed, continuing with the throttle. We got Varga in the middle of it. We got Craig in front. We got Stardog behind. We got purple, green, and yellow, which is more like a mustard yellow, but each to their own. Yellow can have very different shades as we had our quarter into this race. As over and down the hill, bump 1, bump 2, into the downhill braking. I don't think many people actually realise it about that corner. It's actually a slight downhill gradient for Ferrari. That's a new one, Ferrari. I think the Tifosi would have my head. Anywho's, we're currently watching this battle. It's a nice, to be fair, it's a nice little battle which is happening around here as they head into what I call, as they head into Slingshot. Yes, I know it has an actual name. No, I'm not going to call it that. This is my home race. I have the prerogative to call the corners what I want. As here comes Stardog, actually. You see him right there on Varga. Looks to the outside, a little bit of contact. Varga goes round, and oh, almost into Taylor. The brakes coming in clutch for the Ferrari. That was clutch. Maybe also hit the clutch a little bit in desperation. Try not to break your gears, as Saunders is now closing up to Beck, actually. Beck has been slowly falling back. Saunders is on the back of him. Let's see what these two drivers can do. Into the long left-hander, aka sweep, as I like to call it. Sweep, honestly, sweep into Slingshot. That actually sounds like a good combination. That actually sounds like a good combo corner name, you know. Like heading through the sweep into Slingshot. Somebody create a petition. I want those two corners renamed to Sweep and Slingshot. Tie my hair back. So as this battle continues, one more lap. Gonna continue here. We're nearly a third into this race. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Oulton Park action. There is hardly any because it's GT3s and not Not GT4s, BMWs, or... Yeah. It's a little harder to overtake here when all the cars are so chunky. Oh! I just realised this. John Gooday's P5. Whilst we were watching everything that's happened further down the field, my bad. We missed John Gooday making a mistake. That is my bad. So, Stardog now continuing up against Craig. So, nice little battle, nice little fight. And honestly, you know what, let's talk about the calendar that Matthew Duffin was talking about, because we got plenty of races on the calendar. Not Oulton Park. We have Donington on there because it's the home of SimPlay Motorsport, and it is a legal binding. That the home race of the league is on the calendar. But we've got plenty of races over there. Actually, we've got Misano, we've got Valencia, we've got Monza. So we'll have to wait and see. But if you would like, but of course, we got the rest of this season to go before that one. So if you would, to keep up to date with the racing action, click that like button, click that subscribe button, and click that bell for notifications when new videos and updates go live. As right now, going to be continuing on in this battle, going to be going down into Sweet Bend, slingshot through the left-hander. Stardog will go on the back of Craig. Well, continuing here actually, Beck is still on the back of Greaves, but this is the closest battle on circuit right now. And you know what? Let's see. Where's everybody watching from, chat? Where's everybody watching from? Personally, I'm in the north of the UK. Where's everybody watching from? Or listening in from? I know that Varga is Hungary. It's good to have It's good that we got a nice mix of nationalities. As that is going to be Kneebone, still in the pits. He's been in there for a while, now 7 laps down. I think Kneebone has opted for, yeah, my race is over. As right now we see Ramsell coming on the back of Millington. Is there going to be team orders here, or we're going to have an inter-team fight? Who knows? Honestly, those are nice looking liveries. Very kind of simple, but still nice. As over the crest, down the hill, we will now come through this battle. As a little wobble there for Ramsell. That's going to cost him a little bit of time. We got somebody from the Netherlands. Let's go! Welcome in, Netherlands. Welcome to Britain. As right now, the racing action seems to have calmed down a little bit. This is the closest amount of difference on the track as it does currently stand around this circuit. Damn, we got somebody from North Carolina. Damn, we got the state's representation in here. Welcome in, North Carolina. Isn't North Carolina where Mr. Beast is from? We got people in here from South Africa.
The pit is now open.
As here we go, pit window opens. 10-minute pit window to call your pit stops. Key factor, it is a mandatory 25-second pit stop with refueling. You can bump it up to 30 if you want to take some fresh tyres. From what we found out last night, and knowing what this circuit is like, you may want to take fresh tyres, but you've got to be careful when they are cold. If your tyres are cold, you're going to be very, very slippy, as that is Flem Speed 1, who is had at the moment, and they come into the pit lane. Little bit of a punty doodah. Thank you very much, Williams. That was a punt. Now, key factor here, which I'm going to be interested in about, is Flem Speed 1 going to get a penalty? That's the key. This is my question here. Is Flem Speed 1 going to get a penalty now? Because he got hit in the rear by Ramsell, which may have pushed him over that 31 mile per hour limit. Is Flem gonna get a penalty? I get he's only P19, but still, is he gonna get a pen? Well, we're about to wait and see. No penalty. Flem Speed 1 got real lucky with that. Millington now in the pit lane. Here's the question. Hibbs is leading. Is he going to call a pit box? As right now we've got a nice little battle actually going on here. This is going to be Tucker. This is going to be Tucker right here. We've got the little battle forming. Freeway fight. We haven't had one of these in a while. I think the last time we had one of these was lap 5. As right now, that's going to be a pit. That's going to be a call for the box. Tucker and Argent. Box. Well, just as the battle was beginning, the battle ended. Here we go then. Ramsell and Millington back with each other. Williams saying Ford power. Fair enough. Personally, I prefer my Ferrari, even though I drive an Alpine in GT4. Mainly because there isn't a GT4 Ferrari. Like, honestly, genuinely, Ferrari, can I have a GT4 please? Because the Alpine this season was definitely a bad choice by me. So Argent's starting to close in on Tucker. That's a key factor. What's going to happen between these two? The top 6 still yet to pit, as well as Flores.
We are halfway through, not over yet.
As we're at the halfway mark. As... Sir, you see the grey stuff back you're on? That's the racetrack. The green stuff, you can drive out on it as well. You can drive out on it as well if you want, but that's more so rallying. Heck, each to their own. Just don't get a track limits penalty, that's all I'll say. As little battle further back, that's Stardog versus Johnson, which is now forming. Well, yeah. Well, people saying track limits horrible here. Here's the thing, though. Here's the thing, though, with the track limits. The limits of the track is grass. You want to keep it on the track, otherwise you're going to be going on the grass. You actually get punished for going off track. You actually get punished for going off track here. Silverstone, unlike some places. So with a little bit left in this race, mistake by Johnson, here we go. So Johnson makes a mistake. This is going to give an opportunity for Stardog to try and cipher through. A little bit of a squiggle coming down into the right hand there. Is he going to go deep? Is he going to make a little bit of a mistake? We'll wait and see, as these drivers are going to give everything they have. Over the first bump, over the second bump, down the hill, into the right-hander, into the little braking zone, which can catch many people out, aka me last night so many times. And then, as you continue, the front of that Nissan looking a little bit scratched up. It's good to see. It is good to see more Nissans in. It's good to see more Nissans here, apart from the Quantum Motorsport of Matthew Wright, as well, Matt Wright. And continuing down into the left-hander. Of course, that's in Pro-Ams tomorrow night if you want to see another Nissan and any other drivers. That'll be brought to you by Sweet and Sticky. I'm not going to say their names because you know who they are. Right, so through these chicanes, we will go. I'm going to be honest, chat. I need a loo break real quick, so I'm going to leave it on this battle. I'll be back in just a minute.
now closed.
And we are back. As here we go, we got some lapped traffic to get through. Millington's right there. You can see Johnson just ahead. You can see Johnson just ahead. We are got about we got just under 25 minutes left in this race. That's going to be the key factor as well to think about. So we got the lapped cars, and as you come down the main straight, this blue flag, this blue car, this white and blue car, is going to have a wonderful view. Yeah, Florence last to pit. Oh, Johnson's in the pits. So Flores now down in P number 14. So you can see the gaps on the left-hand side. The racing it's calmed down a little bit, is a way I'll put it. That's the way that's the way I'll put it. It's as here we go. Varga's actually a little bit of a gap movement. Varga now closing in on old sim racer. And you know what, chat? We were talking about the season. We were talking about next season earlier. Well, Matthew was. We revealed it, and we revealed the tracks, but I would like to know everybody's opinion on just on anything in general. If you could only go to one track in your life, so if you could only go into, like, if the expenses were, like, if it was free, the expenses were free and everything, if you could do any track in the world for free, travel free of charge, everything, what circuit would it be and why? Personally for me, it'll be the Nordschleife. Because Nordschleife. Plus I want to see Rexy. Oh yes, the GT4s were good to watch yesterday. Just don't look at my race. As the 721, that's Flim Speed 1, has a moment. That's wheel to wheel, side by side. That's Varga and old sim racer right there. That is another battle. Millington also closing in there. That's Stardog and Argent, who are going out. Well, they were going at it. Stardog's now got past Argent, so we went the Flim Speed 1, and we saw that. This gap's starting to close in. Yeah, at least some people had fun last night. I was wondering why my rear end was so snappy. It's because I did everything correctly in my setup, apart from my rear wing. So, but of course, that's brought to you by Dan Davis. As right now, we've got Varga. This is Old Sim Racer. Going to be continuing down into turn number 1, looking for the inside line. Goes for it. Old Sim Racer touches the grass on the outside line. Wheel to wheel, side by side. Coming out the right-hander, into the hill. Down the hill they will go. Looks for the outside line. Why did it do that, game? And that's Varga around the outside. Old Sim Racer's right there. I hate when the game does that. Nice move. Okay, yeah. Thank God you said it, Clouden, because I was not about to say that on stream. Oh, hey, up, number 8's off. Oh, wait, no, that's John Goodey. No, John Goodey. John Goodey. No. No. The poor man with an Aussie name. Oh, God. Honestly, it's a good thing all I have to do is flick the mic up to mute it. Jeez, that was a big sneeze. Right, Old Sim Racer's still with him. Let's see, shall we? Nope, gap's opening up. So as this race continues, everything seems to have calmed down a little bit, which realistically is a good thing. So, right now, little bit unlucky. We're looking for the smallest gap. Where is the smallest gap? 2.1? 1.7. Okay, it's Old Sim Racer. We're watching Old Sim Racer for a while, chat. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Here comes back. Stage 2 Motorsport is on the attack. Boo boo boo. When they see that car ahead, they go on the attack cause they want a chicken's head. Do do do. Out the corner and into Dia's leap. Over the crest, staying on the feet. Out of the way. Beck's coming through, trying to take Grease's place. Do do do. It's ready to call. Beck is on the attack for all. Please tell me somebody got that tune. I know the singing was horrible. Well, I randomly thought of it on the spot. Please tell me somebody knows what that tune is. Like, at least the way it was. Please tell me somebody got that reference. Otherwise that's so awkward. Hin, it's British. Do-do-do-do-do. Do-do-do. I don't see any movement in shot. I don't think anybody got it. No! You know what? Genuinely, I want everybody's opinion on this. What do you think is the best car in the game? Like, what is everybody's opinion on the best car in the game overall? So it can be any category, any car. What is everybody's favourite car in this game, I would say, because it's quite an interesting one when it does come down to it, really. Personally, for me, it's the Ferrari 296. The Bentley, fair. I don't get why so many people like the Bentley. Then again, it is right-hand side drive. The Bentley is right-hand side drive, so if you're British and drive a car in real life, it would probably feel more... To be fair, that's actually a fair argument, actually, especially if your country drives on the right-hand side. If you've got a wheel, it may feel more natural to drive a Bentley because you sit on the right-hand side of the Bentley. So that could actually be a fair argument. 992 Porsche, 296 Ferrari as well, McLaren. Oh, we got an Aston lover. Fair. That is fair. That is a mistake from Argent. As here we go. We got the gaps closing. Flores closing on Tucker as there's actually. Here we go. Versus Stardog. Down the main straight. Come on. We got too caught up in our little chat. As right now with... Oh, off goes Flores. Major kick. Major rear end. Major front. Getting it right in the barrier. Chitty chitty bang bang. And that is, alright, oh god. That Aston Martin does not look like it. Yeah. Argent, oof. The right hand side of that Aston and the front and the back does not look the best. The Aston will be alright. Just get some gaffer tape on it. Anywho's, Taylor on the back of Craig. So right now we're just above that 10-minute mark with 10 minutes. Oh, hello, that's rear end damage for Taylor. Hello. That is rear end damage for Taylor if I have ever seen it. And we are going to continue going here. Continues through the left. Continues through the right. Continues through the left again. Onto the throttle one more time. Trying to do everything that they can. Trying to find a little bit of a gap. You got to remember though, there's 10 minutes left in this race. That's about 12 laps left. No, not 12 laps. About 6, maybe 7 laps left. Yeah, no, about 6, maybe 7 laps left in this race. Maybe more. Meow. Here comes Taylor then again, though. Here comes Craig as well. Over the crest, through the left-hander, onto the throttle one more time. Try to get in as close as possible. Through the right-hander. We now go onto the escape, onto the attack. Through the lefts, through the rights, into the braking zone. Through the left-hander. We will go onto the exit, try to do as much as possible onto the little bit of bumpy bump. 68 has had a little bit of a moment. It seems that is actually old sim racer number 68. No, wait. 68, that's Beck. What has happened to Beck? What has happened to Beck? That is Beck's race done and dusted. As right now, it looks like Taylor is falling a little bit behind Varga, looking for the back of old sim racer. So now that we get towards the end of this race, this is where quite a lot of the drivers are going to be getting that throttle down. You can already see Varga chasing down old sim racer, Tucker chasing down Stardog. So it's an interesting one. Although I must say, John Gooday's had a moment earlier on in this race, which I unfortunately missed. And now, we wait and see to what may be done. That gap's closed. So, still within a second. You know what, let's... My cameras ain't working. There we go. Let's switch it up a little bit, shall we, as we ride on board with the BMW. As actually, this is a beautiful shot. You can see the rear view mirror as well. Varga's right behind old sim racer. So into the second chicane we will go. 6 minutes remain in this race. Through the right-hander. Try not to go a little bit too wide, otherwise you will lose time on the grass. Through the, as we ride on board, under the gangway and into the braking zone. A little bit of a squiggly bit. Double, very tight on the left. Into the braking zone for the right-hander. Goes a little deeper on sim racer. Varga may try to catch up. Hits the apex perfectly. Hits the second apex perfectly. Trying to close in as fast as possible. Trying to do it as quickly as he can. Trying to do everything in his arsenal to ensure that he gets that position, to ensure that he gets that place. He wants that top 10. Varga, a top 10, would help him out loads in this race. So, honestly, who doesn't love this view? You get the double, To be honest, even though I don't like the Ford that much, the inside camera for the Ford Mustang is one of the best. As here comes Varga. Varga's going to slip by. Old Sim Racer made a mistake. And that is Varga. And Varga just takes full advantage. Well, now let's go on board with Varga. Oh yeah, I know. To be fair, that is one of the awkward things. That is one of the awkward things, unfortunately, when it comes down to synchronizing, because I can synchronize my volume, but because it's straight off console, I can synchronize my volume in my settings. But I can only do it for the stream volume, so I usually sync it for offboard like this. Speaking of which, did I change my volume back? Bear with me, chat. Yeah, I did. I always keep my volume at 40% in game. That's always the awkward thing when syncing racing games. The onboard sound can be a bit too loud compared to the offboard sound. So you kind of just have to choose one which you use the most, aka hence why I sync for offboard. Anywho's, 2 minutes 31 remain. We are going onto the penultimate lap now here in this race. As let's look at the times for race number 2, shall we? Let's see what lap times the leader's been doing. They have been doing consistent 135s. They had a 134. They had two 134s. Then that's Millington. I want Hibbs. Thank you. Look at that. 134s. That is... you had the 221. That would have been a pit stop. 137. Most likely an outlap or a battle. 135. That's invalidated, so probably a little bit deep. 133, 133, 133. But he's been doing consistent 134s, Hibbs has. So, without a doubt, I'm going to give him his flowers, because the gaps are everywhere. I'm going to give this man his flowers, because he deserves it. I don't think... I genuinely don't think I've looked at this man's car.
On the final lap. Give it all you can.
Thanks, race engineer. I don't think I've actually looked at this man's car since his pit stop. That's how far ahead this race he has been. He is just on a whole nother level at this circuit. His teammate John Gooday down in P number 5. Not a good day. Not a good day in the office for him. We'll wait and see how this transfers over to the standings. Of course, Greasy Bandits can win it tonight. Of course, it will be provisional at first because of course incidents and everything have to be reviewed. But we will wait and see how this man goes. As somebody says, redemption for Nürburgring. This is redemption for the Nürburgring. We saw what happened at Nürb, and tonight at Oulton Park, not similar, but same feeling for me. Not as easy to overtake, but the elevation, the twists and turns, the greenery around it. Some may say that this track was made for the redemption arc in Hibbs' story. They look back to Nürburgring. They look back at what happened. What happened there was unfortunate, but the haters may say some things, but one thing they cannot say is he has not done it tonight. Consistent 134s, pole in the start, and he comes to the line, and it's to the top. It is Hibbs who wins the Oulton Park feature race. Sny coming down through the final section, and this just shows how far ahead he is. Sny is only now coming into the final corner. That is redemption on another level, and Sny is going to be coming home P number 2, and then it's Ramsell P number 3, his teammate behind him being 10 seconds, and it's Ramsell who rounds out the top 3. Very good day for Cam Racing, but is it enough? John Gooday is P number 5. They needed to outscore Greasy Bandits by 9 points. Have they done enough? We will wait for the table to be updated. It's John Gooday, P number 5, and that's actually crazy, as P number 8 and downwards have all been lapped. So what a arc.
That is how we do it. We'll wait for the people to join us for the interview, as that is a Oulton Park race on another level. There is Hibbs. As we wait for more people to join. That is how we do a race, ladies and gentlemen. McLaren, Beamer, Ferrari. As there is Ramsell. Hello, Ramsell. We'll start with you.
Good evening.
Good evening, good sir. Talk us through that. Of course, P number 3, your teammate P number 4 behind you. I'm waiting for the table to be updated before I can say anything. But, of course, you had to outscore Greasy Bandits in that race with good AP number 5, but Hibbs P1. How are you feeling, and how do you think it could affect it?
Tired, I think, after that. This track takes it out on you. Start with that one. Yeah, it's going to be difficult to catch them, I think. 25 seconds out in front. That's ridiculous. So, but hopefully we've still got enough there just to apply the pressure on for the last 2 races. But in terms of my teammate, that undercut, he was there all day long. I know how hard it is to overtake on this track. Being stuck in that dirty air, I think the undercut paid off for me there.
You were talking about it, actually. You're saying it was tiring, you're out for it. How does it differentiate from GT4 to GT3 around this circuit?
I think it's more demanding. With the GT4, I don't know if it's because I was in the Aston or not, but it was a lot less bouncy. Here, obviously stiffer suspension, lower cars, more aero. It really took it out. I'd hate to do this track in real life. Like, genuinely, it's so bumpy, and that's just me having a steering wheel. Yeah, real life, fair play to the real life racers that do this. Wow.
Not porpoising, are we right?
I just need to go get a glass of water after that. I'm exhausted. I never thought I'd say that after a race. But like I say, fair play to Hibbs. 25 seconds ahead, dominated that race, consistent. Same with Sny. I think I managed to get a couple of seconds towards the end. But yeah, consistency, I think, with this track, and Hibbs and Sny got that all day. Well done, boys.
Very much. I can tell you're exhausted, so I shall let you go.
Yeah, cheers. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for the stream. Thank you for all the admins behind the scenes. On to next week.
On to next week. And do we have... Who else do we have in here? Well, Hibbs, it looks like it's you. You're up, buddy.
Hello. Hello, you alright?
Hello there. Hello there, Hibbs. Up. We got John as well. Hey. Everybody's coming. Hey, there we go. Right.
And shall I go away for 2 minutes?
Yeah. Perfect timing, am I right?
I'll be quiet. See you in a bit.
Right. Sny, hello there. Oh, John Goodday. I am fine with either. John, I'm guessing we're coming to you. We are so confusing. By the way, John, you have an echo. Sny. Sorry, John, we're going Sny first. Thank you, producers.
Sure. Hey there.
So, Sny, hello there. P number 2 by
Yeah.
an astounding gap. But it's still. But to be fair, you had a nice gap ahead as well. So you were kind of, especially that second half of the race. The first half, it seemed like you were a bit more locked in battles, but after that pit stop window, it was a bit more everywhere, a bit more all over the place. Talk us through it. Of course, you were kind of in a bit of a middle ground, but what was it like for you out there?
Well, I guess you haven't seen, but you didn't see it. But I actually went on third turn. I went attack curb too aggressively, so to say, and then went outside. So I got 10 seconds of damage. So basically everything after lap 7 or 8 before pit stop, I was driving with the damage. Unfortunately, yeah.
And of course, not really in the championship, so to say, but it's still a good one for you. How do you think that's going to affect your personal championship in the Drivers' Championship and trying to get a bit further up, especially going into next week?
Sorry, didn't get it. You asking about Donington next race?
Yes, so going to the next race, how do you think that's going to help you out in your personal standings? As of course, you're realistically not that far behind John Goodday.
Don't know. Not much experience with Donington. Raced once, I guess, there a couple of months ago, a month ago, something like that. And yeah, just average pace. So not much. I wouldn't expect much from me next race. So yeah.
Fair enough. And you were talking about the damage, but overall, what was it like driving out on the circuit? Like, we've already had P3 Ramsell saying that it was absolutely exhausting. How was it feeling out there?
Boring. Yeah, large gap before me, after me. So just racing, trying to avoid some big mistakes, and just not much going on. Just finished the race. It was like pretty much like the race yesterday. I like the track for some reason. I know some people don't like it, but I guess it was boring for me. Yeah, mostly.
Off then, and I shall let you go then. And is there anybody who would like to shout out?
Hey, shout out to Keeps for great pace there.
Fair enough, then I shall let you go. Have a good rest of your evening.
Thanks for your commenting. Great work. See ya.
No worries. Thank you very much. Now then, the man of the hour. Hello,
Hello.
hello, Hibbs.
You're right.
Yes, I did not look at your car until the final lap for the second half of that race because you were that far ahead. Talk us through it, good sir.
This is just a track I really like. I know it's one where mistakes will punish you badly, but it's my aim was to build a decent gap in the first stint and just sort of back it off a little bit. Don't take any risks, don't get any track limits, all that sort of stuff. So
Yes, that is fair enough then. And so everything that has happened. Before I say it, do you think you've been able to secure it? Because of course your teammate was P number 5 and you were P number 1. So do you think you guys have done enough tonight to get that team's championship?
I hope so. It's what we've both worked towards all season. So yeah, trying to. We actually spoke about it before this. Just trying to not take any silly risks. Just try and both score strong races. So I think we both seem to do it.
Yeah. Well. Of course, this is provisional because in case incidents and everything. So we will have to wait until the official standings come out. But from what we are seeing right now, if nothing is taken away from you guys or Snide from this race, then you will have the team's championship.
Nice work. That's
Yeah.
You've obviously seen it. Sorry.
Yeah. And in fact, well, the drivers is very much still on. It is a John. You're still at the top, of course, still provisional as well. But John is 55 points behind. Is 171 and Snide 200. So coming into next week, Donington Park, home of SimPlay Motorsport. Is that going to be on your mind, or are you just happy with the team championship this season?
Watkins Glen next.
Yeah, my bad. Watkins Glen.
But yeah, Watkins Glen's another track I really enjoy. Yeah, like that track. No, if we've got the teams wrapped up, then that's what we've sort of both worked towards. You know, like sometimes when I've not been as quick as John, I've let him past, and you know, we've sort of always been eyeing up points rather than faster laps or race wins or trying to push our way through. So yeah, I think it's worked.
Yeah, well, it definitely seems like it. We'll have to wait for the official standings to come out after all incidents are reviewed. But it seems like you've got it, and that is all I have, because you were so far ahead, I genuinely do not know what to ask. You are so quick. But before I let you go, is there anybody that you would like to shout out?
To all you guys in charge of SimPlay, you doing the commentary, obviously all the stuff that goes on in the background. There's a lot of stuff we don't see. So all of that stuff to keep us racing week in, week out. Everyone at Greasy Bandit, John's been brilliant for giving advice. Cloud has been good for setups. We all sort of try and help each other. So yeah, big thank you to everyone.
Enough, and thank you for saying that. Well, I shall let you go. I shall let you go. Pop open the champagne from the fridge, if there is any.
More like a coffee.
And yeah, more like a coffee. And that is all I have. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And I shall see you again soon, hopefully.
Yeah, I'll see you next week, because it seems like what you're saying is you're going to try and get a 25-second lead again.
Yeah, it would be nice, but I have seen what people are like on this grid, so trying to beat Sny. John's rapid. This track he doesn't like. He's already told me he doesn't like the circuit. So yeah, trying to be quicker than others is easier said than done.
Fair enough. Like I said, I shall let you go and pop open that champagne.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Cheers all. Bye bye.
Bye bye. So, ladies and gentlemen, I do believe that is it, unless somebody corrects me. But we shall see you next week. It is Watkins Glen. Personally, one of my favourites, actually, to watch and listen to. So, we'll wait and see what will happen out there. Of course, GT3 action is not done this week just yet. Tomorrow night, it's Sweet and Sticky. It's Matthew Duffin and Kelly Davis in the commentary box. Then Dan returns on Tuesday night. Next week to kick off Watkins Glen for the GT4s. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been SimPlay Motorsport. I've been Lexi. Good night.